Oh my god. That second time was indeed the charm. Um, and I had to go and do it a third time. And going to the internet, try to figure it out what the heck I was doing wrong. And turns out I had to run OBS as the administrator, and that is a just a big stupid. Oh, okay. Anybody who is listening, tell me if uh, tell me if you see something go wrong again, so I could try to fix it. Okay, here we go. Now, um, last time I got pretty far. I got past the Drake and was making it. I made it all the way down to the entrance to the Valley of the Drakes, and I stopped there and then realized that nobody had seen when I was doing it all. So the what do you call that? The recording didn't have any footage at all either. So that's all kind of invalid, isn't it? Uh, so I'm going to restart. Go with the um, same setup as before. At some point, I am going to use mods on here, and I don't know whether or not that's going to kick me from the servers. I'm just going to have to play solo or whatever, but I would eventually like to have a change to the game so that I can have something that looks a little bit nicer, because boy does the game look nicer with the redo, but there are some mods out there that make it look just so much better that it's just incredible. Oh well, I don't remember what customizations I did. It goes right there. Oh, no, did I? Oh, no, I kept the changes. Okay. So here we go. We've gone through this once before.
In the age of ancients,
Of this intro.
the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Isolith,
My
and the
liege.
daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of they challenge the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart and standstills. Witches weaved great firestorms. Leto unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And seethed the scales betrayed his hand, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire.
I have to wonder where that particular place is.
The flames will fade, and only dark will remain.
I'm going to kind of assume Astora, but I don't know that for sure.
Even now, there are only embers. The man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Oscar. I think his name was Oscar. Anyway, just skipping past that because everybody's seen that. It's played about a dozen times, but oh, those bugs look nicer. So I don't know how much of everybody here sat through the. That's an odd place to put a window. It's a detail for later, but it's a window that opens up into a depression to another wall. That's an odd placement for a window. I wonder, that probably doesn't mean anything really, but maybe it's supposed to be some symbolic gesture, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know who watched it through the last last time, who actually made it through the end of that, but I ended up talking about a lot of different stuff, including some of my plans for the novel, and some of my D&D concepts. Not sure exactly what I'll talk about here, but I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about the novel itself. My understanding of my understanding of the canon and the way I think the novel will be written. So the novel is only going to take into consideration the events of the first game for somewhat obvious reasons. The third game has a lot that impacts what we know of the story of the first game, but unlike oh, no shadow. That's interesting. Unlike the I'm not going to take what everybody says in the third game as gospel. And the reasons for that are kind of tied into the background that I use for the lore in the series here, and that is that um, that I use Hawkshaw's interpretation. Um, I really liked Vodvidia's, or however, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name correctly. Vodvidia's way of understanding the story, but I went to school to be a historian, and I've read a lot of different works, a lot of different fiction, a lot of different nonfiction, and um, I have to tell you, maybe it's just my bias that makes me think this way, but my one of my least favorite things about the way Body Video tells the story is that it's sort of it's not exactly knowable. It's sort of like a mythological state. Nothing is definite. There's no way to know for sure. There are clues, but you can never really put those clues together. Um, and it doesn't really allow for a lot of the individual characters to have their own motivations. Um, when and every individual person is a cog that has a very specific purpose. That's once its purpose is fulfilled, um, or it loses its sense of purpose, it becomes hollowed. And I don't know, that idea never really made a whole lot of sense to me because I read through a lot of the games, the item files, and all the descriptions and everything like that. And I could see a definite shadow on here, but not on the ground. I could see a definite progression of events, and so I tend to I'll probably link Hawkshaw in the video description if I can remember to at the end of the stream, but he has a lot of good cause and effect interpretations of a lot of the different events. He kind of loses me once you get to the end of the Ash Lake one, where it seems like seems almost that he's making a definite point about where the about who the famed like the god of blacksmith is, and I don't know that I listened to it a dozen times, probably in the last several weeks, and I can't for the life of you tell you exactly what he's trying to say in like the last 10 or 15 minutes of that video. So I'll just grant you that it's a little bit out there, but a lot of his conclusions, his timeline conclusions, I think make a lot of sense. I find Frampt and Quelana to be horrifyingly bad actors when not very trustworthy whatsoever. And a lot of what we understand from the game is viewed from certain perspectives. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about here happened a long time ago. If you go by Hawkshaw's estimation, um, the undead legend was started around 100 to 200 years ago, um, which would be around the time that Gwyn started to shepherd ordered to shepherd the undead to the undead asylum and to Inorlando. And um, oh gosh, did I lose my train of thought? Um, oh yeah, so like most of what we know is that's more recent information is all from item descriptions that are from the point of view of a character whose um, own memory we can't really be certain of because when we encounter the game for the first time, we don't know any of the lore, so we're just kind of being thrust in there. Um, I'm assuming that all of the item descriptions are the character's own voice talking about these items, because we don't hear about these items from other characters. We look at the descriptions in the character's inventory. Um, um, so that's one thing. It's a perception. We're looking at history through the perception of someone who is actively being manipulated by people around them. For instance, Frampt, and tells you a story about how um, you are going to take over for Gwyn, become the new ward. But then you go and you kindle the flame and you set yourself on fire and become a Ashen one, guarding the flame against the next person who comes to light it. And he lied to you. You're not going to become the next lord. You're going to extend the age of fire just ever so much more. At the same time, we have Oscar, and Oscar, he brings you this idea that the undead are chosen and they are going to save the world, which plays into the idea that um, the answer lies within Anorlando and within this cycle of lighting the flame, which is another deceit, although Oscar, I'm sure, does not know that. Um, and then you have Quelana. And Quelana has um, tells you a lot about her family that we can tell from a lot of context clues and item descriptions is just false. Um, she is duplicitous and has some sort of a grudge against her family that um, makes her a very poor um, source of information. But there's also the undead rapport spell that she sells. That spell in particular is interesting because that and the oh gosh, the I forget the name of the guy who sells you the pyromancies, but you learn a lot from him. And when he goes down there to meet her to go find and discover Lost Izalith and the source of pyromancies, he um, apparently goes insane. And you have to fight him and kill him. And that's always been such a strange thing to have happen in the game until you come across the Undead Rapport spell and you find out that the what probably happened was that she used that spell on him to get him to holify or attack whoever came up next to him. And he's an undead, which is this is something interesting I actually haven't heard Hawkshot talk about. A lot of the characters that are undead, that like um the guy I was just mentioning, the um pyromancer guy, and the crestfallen merchant, crestfallen warrior. Those people are at different parts of the game. They go hollow, and you fight them, but you only fight them once. Now, if they're undead and they work the way the normal undead do as enemies, they should show up in that same place again. But I actually imagine that there are some other potential forces working it here. For instance, they should respawn infinitely, but they don't respawn and attack you again. You don't ever see them again after you kill them. They are undead, so they will respawn. So where do they go? Well, if they're not responding in the same place, and they don't immediately go to the same area, then it sort of undermines, at least in my mind, the idea of, or further undermines the idea of holification as this insanity that the character goes into that they can't recover from. Once they go into it, they go in and they can never come back out again. Um, I talked about this in the last stream, but holification really to me seems to be a state that you go into. A hollow, you can holify when you die, and for instance, this is the holification of this particular character. Um, you get humanity back later, and you can become human again. But when you die, you become hollow. So maybe what we're looking at is a state that you can come in and out of. For instance, if the crestfallen warrior, he attempts to kill or attacks Frampt and goes underground to I don't know, hang around with the ghosts. You go down there and you fight him, you kill him. He doesn't show up back at Firelink's Shrine again. So what happened to him? It's not like you killed him for good because he's undead. So what's the deal? Perhaps he died, respawned somewhere, but wasn't insane and just decided not to go back to any of the places we have access to. Or suppose he was under some form of the undead rapport spell. Which I'm not sure if that spell is exclusive to Quelana or not, but if they were under that spell, then they could have gone there as a temporary thing under the spell, attacked you, and then come out of the spell once they respawned. I don't really know how that works, but it seems to that those coincidences seem to kind of get in the way of the idea of holification as a permanent state of insanity. Um, Another thing that seems to get in the way of that, in my mind, is the idea that there are two different forms of being undead. Two different I don't know, states of undeath. One of those is undeath in humans and presumably other creatures like the golems that you fight, and the tree people, the vine whip creatures, and other things that seem to reappear over and over and over again. The creatures that you fight in, what were they called? The rats seem to come up over and over again. They are undead. Then you have the I guess there might be three, you could say. Then you have the undead humans, and then you have the undead creatures like this that you fight. And then there's the undeath of dragons, which comes from the fact that they have died to the miasma of death and disease that Nito pushes out, which kills them, but they have their undying scales, which means that they are kind of forced to stay alive. Which is another kind of undeath that's separate. In the beginning of the game, in the first cutscenes, we can see what appears to be the method of creating undead for at least humans, at least living things that aren't dragons, which is living things have humanity, and the humanity is introduced to a spark, a flame that then um, kindles their humanity inside their body, forcing them to come alive again and again and again after death at bonfires. Um, that seems to be what's happening in that first cutscene. Uh, it works differently for dragons, and then the golems seem to work in another faction entirely because um, they have something with the Iron Golem. The Iron Golem can come back again and again um, because of its core. It's a core of the dragon that was killed a long time ago, an ancient dragon core. Um, and that can be reset. So that kind of has the idea that maybe with special items as their cores, different golems can be reset to come back again and again in a similar manner to the undead. So the game only mentions one kind of undeath, but there are, I guess, depending on whether or not you count golems as undead, there are three or two, um, which is another bit of misleading um, bait and switch. The game is telling you one thing, and you're hearing it as that. But if you pay attention to the way the game talks to you, I think you're going to find it's a little bit more complicated than the way it uh, pretends to be.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I've done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, but perhaps you... There is an old... Thou, thine ex... When thou... Well, now... Oh, an es... Oh. Now, I would...
I need to exit out really quick to see if the stream is actually still working. Come on. Yes, the stream is still working. Yay! Because I've got one viewer. Awesome. I'm going to be top of the trending pages in no time. Anyway, what was I saying? I think that the systems that the world acts under are a little bit more complicated than it would seem. Um, Pulling back a little bit from that kind of discussion bit of it, I'd like to talk a little bit about the way I'd like this series to go. And that is that I have an idea of what this character's route is, what they uh, how they're going to um, interact with the world. And my own headcanon for this is twofold. Like I have for a while before I ever played Dark Souls 3, I had um, I didn't even really know Dark Souls 3 had come out for a while. But I had the thought that this particular character was trapped in the cycle. Since you can New Game Plus, that New Game Plus was actually a continuing of the storyline. So you start off the game and believe in everything Framp tells you, and die at the end as you light yourself on fire, relighting the flame. and then next you go through the game again, be with Koth, and go to the Dark Lord ending. But someone would come up behind you and light the flame after you've defeated Lord Gwyn, which is probably Solaire. Um, then what happens after that? You still wake up in the cell again, but what third option do you take? Well, I mean, no one else seems to be strong enough to defeat Gwyn, so perhaps you guard the entrance to the kiln, killing anyone that you come across, or the way I thought it would work out for my character is work with the demons, spare Quelaag, kill Quelana, and help them bring about the resurgence of their civilization. Because I do actually think that it's possible that they can be saved yet. If the bed of chaos is not destroyed, and you hunt for humanity to heal the fair lady. And then I have one where Dark Souls 3 exists, where the main path goes essentially that you do the Dark Lord ending after helping the fair lady after killing Quelaag, and you die, then wake up as an Ashen One, having been defeated as the husk that guards the flame, and being laid to rest somewhere. You wake up and go to kindle the flame again, and then you get the true undead ending, which is at least the ending that I thought was the true ending, which is the undead ending. Sort of getting revenge on the world for the forsaking of the demons, and that's sort of what the two different plot types that I have out for. Well, shut up. I hear you. That I had set out for this. I don't know which one I'm going to do. Personally, I like the idea of this sort of enclosed world of Dark Souls 1 as its own thing, because I enjoyed, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Dark Souls 3, but I did not enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoyed the first game. I've got several hundred hours into this game, and I think I played through Dark Souls 3 once. Got through the ending, beat everybody, beat the giant dragon at the end, which is not quite, he was very difficult, but not quite about as difficult as everybody else seemed to say it was. But so I might go with the first one, the only Dark Souls 1. But I guess it depends on what anybody else thinks. If they give me some, there's some discussion on that. Anyway, I guess I'll go and beat the boss now. Let's see if I can do it first time. The Kellicana rule of this battle is stick to his ass. He cannot hit you if you stay on his ass. And there we go. Wonder how I'm going to write the cinematic end of this demon. Am I just going to have my Kellicana standing near the back and just slashing his butt and then he disappears? Or is this going to be the kind of thing where she does a thing where like climbs up his back or up his flank or something like that and stabs him in the head, and he falls to the ground. She rolls down off of him, and then he disappears in a shower of I guess particles. And she goes, "Oh, that's so cool." I don't know. Depends on how true I want to be to the actual idea of the story, like the actual game. Um, I never actually tried this, but can you access Snuggly this early in the game? Nope. Nope, can't. Okay. Now to go and get carried away by Velka.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated
Caw, motherfucker! Yep.
dead asylum in pilgrimage to the
Actually,
land of the ancient lords.
actually wonder what kind of monster that is. If we were looking at D&D equivalent, is that a rock,
Lordran.
or is that a dire eagle or something like that? That is easily in the large size category, or maybe the huge size category. To imagine that that thing could just one shot a lot of the drakes in the Valley of the Drakes is massive. Um, okay. Congratulations, we made it to the first bonfire. Uh, and the game is still actually running. People watching can actually still see it. This is the episode 1.5 or 2.5 or episode 3 because I briefly stopped the stream earlier. I have no idea. But it seems to be working this time, and oh, that's amazing. Okay. Time to go get my sword. You know, uh, if I was really kind of a masochist, I'd start out this series by going and getting the Rite of Kindling first, because that is actually the way um, beat the game the first time. Was by going down to um, hello, hello, but I'm here. No, it's good then. Very well. Now, come again. Um, I I went down my first playthrough for the game. I went down and I didn't even realize that direction, that bit of path over there existed. I didn't. I thought you were just meant to start fighting the skeletons right away. And so I got all the way down until where you meet Nito and saw the shield on the door, and I'm like, what the hell? What the hell am I supposed to do now? And I climbed all the way back up and looked at, sat down at the at my desk and a Firelink shrine, and like, what? I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I looked at finally, I set aside the thing, looked at YouTube, figured out what people are supposed to do, and realized that there was a path going upwards immediately upon starting the game. And I just, oh, it was just the worst facepalm I think I've had since like middle school. It was just awful. Oh, that was embarrassing. But at that point in the game, I thought I was doing fairly good, but I was doing the funny noob thing where you kind of spec into everything because you want to try everything, but your character becomes absolutely trash at all activities. Uh, and it was to be honest, it was a pretty fun character. I got to level like 80 or 90 or something like that when I completed the game, and it was fun. Um, but it also was um, the wrong way to play the game for one, and very frustrating because I could never do any of the things that I saw other players doing, and I could do all those same things, but I was never competent at it enough at it to make the game easier. I could do the sorceries, but I never did the sorceries well. Because I never did the sorceries well, I was always faced with a problem of why am I doing this? Why don't I try doing the faith build instead? Well, uh, the faith build is also kind of pointless if you do it when you're like level 60 and you have all the other points in other areas. So it just kind of turned into one giant failure of I just doing the game wrong. It was just doing the game wrong. But what I did find out after a while is that my favorite style, after choosing a lot of different setups, was the knight and playing the heavy builds. I it's basically trash at PvP, but then again, I never played this game for the PvP. It's always been for the PvE for me. Um, I mean, this is a game about fighting monsters on your way to quote unquote save the world. So I never really was too bothered about that. That was part of something that always kind of drew the game down for me. Uh, the PvP. I like the co-op nature of it. Um, that was always really fun, especially useful when I was still trying to understand how to build my character and everything. It was very useful to have a lot of people around who could help me through the boss areas. Although, I mean, I don't think I'd ever do that now. Um, Unless I was having a particularly frustrating time with a particular boss. I'm well, we'll see if this proves to be true, but I'm good enough at the game that I play through most of these things just straight with just me. Um, um, but I always hated going through and putting a ton of humanity into a character and going looking for different items, and then or putting a lot of humanity into a character and then going to fight a boss, and along the way you had to fight two other players on the way just to grief you, and that was just the most frustrating thing in the entire world. It was just the worst. Um, anyway, let's see. What am I doing? I'd like to get to 16 so that I can have the claymore, and then I'm spending all my souls on reinforcing my weapons. That's right. That's what I'm doing. Um, yes, up here and then up there. Um, but anyway, so this I got off on a wild tangent there. I intend to fight. Depending on what everybody thinks, essentially I'm going to be going for a um, completing all the storylines and defeating Gwyn and lighting the flame on the first one. Um, I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to loop it around. So the second part of the book will start with the main character waking up in the asylum again with all their equipment and going like, "What the hell? That what just happened?" And then going out and meeting Kath and traveling along the path to become the Dark Lord. Um, um, Although at certain points I am going to be taking my own liberties because as a massive fan of Quelaag and the Fair Lady, I am going to be a fanboy and change some things so that I can. I don't have to actually kill them um, in the story, I guess, because I'm going to naturally always favor being the on the demon side. They're just they just kind of seem like. I mean, Gwyn isn't evil. He's not evil. He's not as bad as a lot of the people I've watched do war for make him out to be. He's I kind of think of him as a very competent ruler who's very ambitious, um, and ends up going to light the flame to try to save the civilization that he's built up single handedly. And so I actually think he's a lot more positive of a character than a lot of people seem to think he is. Um, at the same time, the demons, I think, are and of course, they're killing people and like turning people into bug demons and stuff like that. So that's not. I'm gonna drink real quick. Today's drink is Pepsi. Terrible for you, but quenches the thirst. Um, they're not good guys, but the demons I think are the only. I think the ones that the truly sympathetic side to this. Um, with the strength of wards, Gwyn and the others challenged the dragons, and defeating them, set up their own. They finished setting up their own civilizations, and the demons, being a very powerful race that's sort of alongside the race of wards of that Gwyn sets up, the gods. Uh, they are a competing power, and it's kind of complicated to say just to explain in this bit of it. If you watch Hawkshaw's demon video, it sort of explains it a little bit better, I think. But essentially, um, Gwyn is using the four kings to wander humanity to keep quenching the flame, to try to keep kindling it, to like make the uh oh, what is it, the Age of Wards last longer, the Age of Fire. um but the Oh wow, I've never done that before. Huh. uh Anyway, so you wanted to get the humanity to keep the flame quenched, uh but the it turns out not really. But he fights ends up fighting with the demons because they are becoming a parallel power structure that is very, very much capable of rivaling them. Um, War rages on, and the demons are very, very powerful, but they are not able to claim final victory. They're not totally defeated, but they are also Uh, they're essentially defeated. Um, and are forced into a pact. This comes from the cut contact content. Cut content from the Design Works interviews that were around there, where um, Quelaag has a dialogue that she says before she tries to kill you. That talks about the pact that she and the others swore to help maintain the Age of Fire, I suppose I should say, and the um, that sort of goes off the rails, and then Quelana is huge. I don't know what kind of language I'm allowed to say on YouTube, so maybe I shouldn't say that word, but she's awful and poisons the fair lady using Ingi, and basically prevents the demon race from being able to fulfill itself and procreate anymore. Now that's as far as we know, based on what it seems like it is in the third game. It seems that the demons were able to continue procreating, but they fell from their some like more civilized forms into just being monsters. They were engulfed in a more traditional sense of engulfment, and not going to do the trade right now. I don't have the money, but if you don't take that into account, then if you take that the third game into account, then you run into the problem of like, okay, so the fair lady says all the eggs are still. I think it's too late. We've essentially lost everything, and then you take the third game into account, and somehow they've managed to continue procreating. And how could that be? Well, there are daughters of chaos that are unaccounted for. And if there are others that are like the fair lady and able to lay eggs, then it's possible that they are able to continue producing the parasites that produce the demons. And that could provide one such answer. Another answer is that at least I might have to think out loud here as I say it. Another potential answer is that he's down there. Okay. Is that there was the brood that we see that the fair lady has when we see her is actually just a small portion of their total forces, I guess you'd say, and the rest of them are out there, just not in a more in the most visible sense. And without the guidance of Quelaag and the Fair Lady, they devolve into beasts. I kind of like that idea. But then again, I'm probably gonna be focusing on this series as if Dark Souls 1 is the only game. So I don't know. You'll have to tell me what you think. Anyway, so the demons, once we find them, you end up murdering Quelaag on, if we're doing all of the different quest lines correctly, then you're doing it on Quelana's orders or suggestion, like the undead rapport, forcing you to fight um, forcing you to fight the demons, and when you finally get to the fair lady, um, you realize that you've done something horrible, and the implications of what you're done based on her dialogue, um, that you can only get if you had the old witch's ring, which is my reasoning for thinking that the old witch's ring is actually the um, canon item, the canon gift that you start with, because otherwise you have to get it by trading with. Pretty sure you have to get it by trading with Snuggly. Um, Oi, that's a little bit better. Uh, the When you find them, the fair lady is essentially the demon race is essentially over. You've killed you killed the fair lady, or you've killed Quelaag, and there's nobody left to heal the fair lady into a position where she can begin to um, lay eggs again and nurture them. And part of the nurturing of the eggs involves the production and consumption of humanity. Because and I think I think the reason for that is, or the direction, the evidence for that is that they are so um, the okay, what am I doing? I'm doing humanity times two. Um, I think the evidence for that is that it's uh, gosh, I lost in something else that was happening in real life. Um, what was I saying? Oh, um, I think that the humanity is involved in the production of the eggs, um, because the chaos flame itself is a simulacrum of the original flame, um, and because of the connection of souls and um, sorcery, and the how the soul is sort of a kindled by the flame. Um, the humanity inherent in a person is kindled by the flame. I think there's some sort of connection there, um, that might work as an additional provocation that Gwyn had to invade. Um, Again, I don't know that for sure. I'm going to have to go back over the war again and see if I can see if that actually fits into any of the actual information. But on the other hand, if you become part of the Chaos Servant Covenant and feed Fair Lady um, enough humanity, she recovers and she's able to see again. And she notices that you are there and she's not been talking to Quelaag the entire time, and it breaks her heart. But I think, although there's nothing in the game particularly that tells you, that says this for sure, but I actually think that you might have cured her enough, cured her of the poison enough that she can begin laying eggs again. Therefore, um, you can, after killing Quelana, of course, because it's a must, you must kill Quelana. She's evil. After killing her, you continue with the covenant, and the thing that happens after that is that the The demons are able to come together as a race again, and under the direction of Quelaag and the Fair Lady, they are able to repopulate Islith and come back, whereas the wards have all fled, making them the only power left in the world, and a power capable of opposing the dark. Um, I think this is an interesting way to continue from the story, because then how are they going to interface with the fact that the Age of Fire is ending? It's an interesting question. The Bell of Awakening is hidden behind uh, Quelaag, and Quelaag and her demons try to prevent you from doing that, so that you prevent you from getting to um, Anor Londo, and by extension, bringing the Gwyn's heirloom to the um, oh gosh, we're to the bonfire right in front of where the Kiln of the First Flame is. Gosh, I'm not remembering location names very well today. Um, anyway, she's trying to prevent you from that process, from doing that, which kind of makes it seem like the um, like they're against the uh, they're not part of Framp's plan to reignite the flame, which there could be multiple reasons for that. One of those reasons could be that they don't want the flame to be lit. Another reason is that the plan itself involves the killing of Quelaag and potentially the Fair Lady, and in order to get there, and so the um, because it necessitates that, they're trying to prevent that. So at this critical juncture where they can, through helping of the Blackthorn Knight, being able to cure the Fair Lady. Um, so there's a bunch of different reasons why it could be, and I don't know which one I'm going to use in the novel. We'll have to talk a little bit about that. Um, it's a good question. Um, dum 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 dum. Let's get through this next boss really quickly. You know, the one thing that I wish this game had is the ability to make me give me um, a LARPing opportunity, so that I could pretend to be a Roman soldier, Roman legionary in Dark Souls. I suppose I could find try to see if there's a mod like that out there, but I'm kind of weary about modding too many things in so that I don't get so I get soft banned. I don't want to get soft banned, but I am going to, like I said, I am going to be putting mods in it. I'm just going to be, I'm not sure what exactly it's going to be. I'd like to put in some graphical mods. My computer is, I only have a 1070. I'm hoping to upgrade soon, but I have a 1070 um, graphics card, and I'd like to improve that at some point. But I should be able to run the much higher quality textures, um, and I'd like to run the game with certain things that I think were just cut for the sake of time, like oh, he's down there. Um, a lot of the I'd like to cut content, restoration for Quelaag. Um, a different model for her because I always thought that the model that they had in game was kind of stank too much of being reduced somewhat in quality. Anybody who has played the game knows the scene that I'm talking about, knows kind of what I'm what I'm really talking about when I say that. But they reduced the quality for measurements of making the game more friendly to younger audiences. I think when that's not the aura that I get um, from her battle at all, um, and from her character. Um, in the DesignWorks interview, they talk about how um, they talked about how it didn't fit Quelaag's aura to be talking at the player, and to for one, in one way, I understand because I mean she's that scene where she comes walking down with the beast, and then you see her and she smirks and everything like that. That's amazing. But I think that if they had had more time, there could have been more of an interface with the character, and I don't think it's complete. I don't think it's against her character at all to be um, talking to you and maybe laying a hint that you're under control. You're under the control of the undead rapport. I'm not going to survive this. Oh wow, look at that. I'm not doing much damage at all. That was my opportunity. Oh, that was the wrong time to attack. Oh, come on. Can I get behind you? I cannot. You know what I want in Super Smash Bros. Next? I want the Black Knight. I know he's not a Nintendo character, but come on, he deserves it. He is just so badass. Or the Chosen Undead. He should be the next Smash character. I have to wonder. This is never addressed in any of the videos that I've ever seen, but why are the Black Knights here? Um, they're not exactly barring your way, but they are getting in the way of you moving forward. Is it what is the status of the Black Knights themselves, and what do you think their motivations are for blocking you? I kind of wonder um, they have um, if they have a potential motivation to prevent prevent the character from actually getting to the kiln of the first flame. Because once you get to the kiln, they definitely fight you. But is there a reason for them, like the demons, wanting to prevent you from getting there? Oh, just barely avoided that. Maybe I could just go the easy way. I don't usually use items because I think they're kind of cheap. Oh, well, yeah, yay, he got out. Yay. Wonderful. Uh, um, I don't usually win against this guy first time, at least at a low level. Or, yeah, I pretty much lose to this guy every time when I'm at New Game +7. I only have one character that I have a level 120 character that has like 50 in all of the combat stats. It is just absurd. I've been playing that one for way too long. Um, but it was kind of with that one that I had the idea that the multiple playthroughs are all, oh, I didn't get a sword, are all kind of one continuous adventure that you are learning bits of the lore through interacting the world with the world uh, consistently after the original playthrough. The game does deliberately bring you to the next world, the new game plus, with all of your equipment intact, which I think is significant at the very least. Do I want to do endurance? No. What is? I did the thing wrong. Endurance. Yeah. Endurance. 2 levels. 2 more endurance. Yeah, I'll do that. My endurance always ends up being way higher than my health whenever I play this game because I'm rely on blocking so much, um, and the heavy weapons. I end up playing as if I have a Black Knight Ultra Great Sword as a one-handed weapon. Which at some point in this channel, I'd really like to do a series of videos about the characters that are in Dark Souls and some of the feats of strength that you're actually pulling off when you use the weapons that you're using. For instance, uh, the dragons that you see in the beginning cinematic are these sort of like granite looking dragons that have these massive, unbelievably huge chunks of armor, not armor, scales that look like they're made of granite, made of stone. And I've never seen anything that says anything more specific about it, so I always kind of assume that they seem to be mineral-based life forms. I've heard that before somewhere in the lore, but so they're sort of biological mineral-based creatures that pretty terrifying. But Havel has a dragon tooth. And if the body of the creature is made from dragon's teeth, or is made from a kind of granite-like material, and we use the weight of granite as the measurement there, so for the thing, you're carrying something that it's been a while since I did math on this, but it's got to be at least 1,000 pounds, if not more, and using that at 50 strength one-handed against other players. So that is an incredible level of strength. There's other things too. Oh gosh, I had something for this. I had a whole list of things that I was going to talk about, and I was at work today, and I was thinking, okay, so what particular things am I going to talk about to make sure that I get some of my points across for the legitimacy of these future videos? And that's the one that I have right now. Maybe you can give me a minute, and I'll think of something. Oh, the armor. When you wear Havel's armor, if you take it as the previous example, then he is wearing, or the Havel Knight, if that's actually Havel or not, we don't know. But the Havel Knight is wearing armor that is essentially made of granite. And so that is unimaginably heavy. Which, being able to move in that is incredible. But if you were to take a lot of the stuff that I do when I do the Command and Conquer videos is I try to imagine what the combat would look like if it was in real life. what the battles, the great battles would look like if they were with units that behave conventionally. Didn't have a range of like 10 meters. Um, and one of the things that I came across was that these the battles would be taking place across massive, massive fields of oh gosh, well, like even like the 1v1 battle maps that you have, that would probably be oh like maybe something like 5 or 6 miles square, to be able to achieve distances where you wouldn't just be able to hit the enemy by um, maybe I should suspend this just for a second so I could focus on the game. I remember last time I did this, you didn't see, but he almost killed me, which was super embarrassing. Uh, anyway, so those uh, most weapons, if competently held, and they're not like a submachine gun or a shotgun, have ranges that you can end up hitting people about a kilometer away if it's in a flat area or you're going from hill to hill. And most military people are actually, my family being a military family, are very capable of hitting targets at that range. Now, I'm not sure about the Nod soldiers, uh, at least in certain games, but the GDI soldiers would definitely be capable of that. So if you imagine the ranges between the different characters on this game screen, could when you can actually shoot each other, could be anywhere from um, point blank to a couple hundred meters away. Um, the tanks can fire at things in direct lines of sight, um, like a kilometer away, half a kilometer and a half away, and can use a targeting computers linked with global positioning systems to hit things like artillery from much further away. Um, so there's a lot of stuff that's involved there that makes the battles actually seem way larger. Um, Imagine the invasion of Sarajevo from the first game, but on that kind of scale. Um, it just makes the world seem so much larger. And this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about for Dark Souls too, because imagine fighting Havel with this kind of armor set and weapon. You have a steel broadsword, um, a let's see, is this a full metal shield, and you're wearing really nice plate armor. It's not complete. There's been some interesting videos of, I think, Shadiversity and some of the other sort of medieval YouTubers have done videos talking about the different armors in here, and they're not complete, but they are very well done, well researched. Um, but Havel is wearing what would amount to like 2,000 pounds of granite. And now, I don't know about you, but uh, I've never heard of any like sword that can actually cut through granite. Besides the fact that dragon bone and dragon um, scales and their teeth and everything like that are actually invulnerable. The only thing that can break them is lightning strikes from different spells. So effectively, when you would be fighting this guy, you'd be trying to get in um, at the lower parts of his feet, the lower parts of his legs, or maybe in between the eye holes, because any other damage you do, unless you had a massive blunt weapon that could deal damage through his armor with kinetic force, you'd kind of uh, just glancing off of him. You'd never be able to deal any damage, and that is an incredible, just an unbelievable amount of protection and ability. Um, some of the other ones, another one, the Silver Knight Great Bow, the Dragon Killer, a Slayer Great Bow. That fires rods of iron. They have spiked tips at the end, and those are meant to take down dragons. Uh, so, which shows, I guess, if you have a sufficiently high mass object uh, shot at a sufficient speed, you could hit and deal damage to a dragon um, with a rod of iron. So, taking that into consideration too, might be able to effectively hurt. Um, why am I thinking Black Iron Tarkus? I'm up Havel. That's what I'm thinking of. With that bow, but you pull that back. That thing is massive. You stick it into the ground with a stake at the bottom of the bow. Pull it back and fire it, and that thing goes for a while. But it is incredibly heavy to be able to propel a iron bolt that far as like a normal arrow. That thing must have draw tension that is just unbelievable. I don't know exactly. I'll have to do some research to figure out what the exact physics of that are. Um, the draw weight of the bow to the mass of the arrow, and then use that as a conversion factor for the effective draw weight that this would have to have based on the projected mass of the iron arrow. But I could easily see how the draw weight might be like 2,000 pounds. Imagine a bow that, like, my car weighs 2,000 pounds. It would be lifting my car with one hand would be the same as drawing this bow. So, like, the physical characteristics of these are not humans, as far as I can tell. The humans in this game can use souls to improve themselves, to improve their attributes. Um, but these are not humans in our conventional sense. These are very much like manga humans, where they can grow they're almost, I want to say they're Saiyans. They're almost Saiyans in level of ability, because if not for the gamey feature that they have, where there becomes a drop off at 50 where you get diminishing returns. Um, I can imagine that a lot of these characters could become much stronger than that. Um, and that's kind of hard to imagine at all. Something becoming stronger than like wailing on somebody with a 1,000 pound, 1,500 pound piece of bone. Ugh. Let's talk to Solaire. And this is something that I actually think is a game feature rather than a war feature, at least in the first game. Um, and the reason that I say that is that Solaire isn't like in a different timeline that's just briefly connecting to ours. If you follow his quest line, you find him physically in the world at various different locations. That's not. I don't think that's the timelines converging. That's uh, him in our world, just going a different way, going a different route to some of the areas that we can go to. Um, and that goes for a lot of the other characters too. There are certain ones like uh, Black Iron Tarkus, who's dead, who you can have help fight the Iron Golem, the giant golem. Um, and there's Witch Beatrice, who's also dead. There's some cut content about her, um, and she's dead. But other than that, it seems like for the most part, you're fighting with people that exist in the world with you. Um, and whenever you get invaded by uh, a random griefer asshole, uh, you're actually getting invaded by yourself, a chosen undead with the exact same origins of you from another timeline or another universe or something like that. Which seems, unless this is like part of its own multiverse with, we're talking multiverse theory, there's infinite numbers of us out there. It seems far more like a game feature that they added so that they could do multiplayer properly, rather than anything that actually fits with the lore. Although that's my opinion, that's only my opinion. Only I think a Hawkshaw's opinion too, but you can tell me if I'm wrong later in the comments. Okay. Um, Now to grab the Drake. Do not kill me, please. I am a good person. I do not want to be cooked in my armor. Um, no, I don't have to do that. I only have 9. That's just, I'm fine with that. I hardly ever take this path anymore. I don't remember if there's anything good in there. No, there's nothing. There's nothing important through there. Uh, it's just a little bit of a shortcut. But I always go straight across now that I know how actually how to cross with the Drake here. That reminds me, at some point I do need to get the Drake sword. I won't ever spend anything on it because it's kind of bad. But oh, that was the wrong one. Oh, there he is. Oh, massive Drake. Um, bleh, is right. That's right. Right. The Claymore! Soon I will have my Zweihander, weapon I'll probably use for most of the game. Let's see. Kindle. Okay. I usually play the game with the emphasis on improving equipment before leveling up. That's just the way that it's worked out for me. That works the best. I tend to improve my survivability a lot more on that. So I'll improve my armor first, and then my weapons, and then upgrade until I'm about. I got 24 strength and some good stamina, and then I'll probably just keep it there until I got all of my final equipment, and I'll probably get to 50 strength, 50 dexterity, but before that, 50. Let's see, endurance and 40 vitality. So I'm probably going to end up being level 100 by the time I get through this. But that is what I'm shooting for. Should I see if I can fight the Black Knight up there? I think it might be a little too early. A little too early. I don't have anything improved yet. Here's one of those things that makes me think that these guys aren't just insane insane hollows. They're they're guarding something. They're guarding an entrance. The guy runs up and closes the door to the entrance as I come through. That tells me that there is coordination going on, and I didn't. And whoop. Oh, that was very smart of me. 202 damage, stabbing him in the ass. Yay, fire! Um, anyway, what was I saying? These guys seem far too coordinated to just be the insane, mindless creatures that I have that you hear about them as within the game's lore. It doesn't make sense. I think more likely these are people that have hollowed over time, undead that have hollowed and are trying to essentially been hired to prevent the rest of the undead from the asylum to actually get to the bells. Because if they are being shepherded to Anor Londo, and Frampt and the others wanted them to get there, then why would any of them be here? There'd just be hindrances. If they were insane, we wouldn't be seeing one guarding there going, I close the door on you. Yeah, you're so funny. You're funny. Open the door. Open the door. Anyway, you'd have them running at each other and murdering each other until they respawn to do just that again and run and murder each other again. So I don't think I think there's a lot more to the situation than we are being given information about. Um, it could end up being very well that it's just a game mechanic that that these guys are actually not on the same side. It's just that part of being a hollow is that you don't attack other hollows, and that could, that could be it. That that hasn't been confirmed, but it hasn't been. That's a very valid potential answer. But I'd like to say that based on the actions that everybody seems to be taking, um, a lot of the other name characters and everything like that, it seems like this particular area is the way it is for a reason. Um, because this area, it's called the Undead Burg. Now, I think that's a very interesting uh, thing to call it because it's a city. It's a city. So what? It's a what does that mean? This is not a city. This is a group of abandoned homes with some insane people with loincloths stabbing anybody who comes near. There's nobody who's doing any of the normal things a normal group of people would actually do in a city. Um, and it's not that the undead have taken over, and that's what makes it different because it's the undead burg, the undead city. And it could be colloquially called that. Like once it was a regular burg, and now it's a undead burg, and that's possible. But we see other things called what they are for, like Ulasil. Ulasil, from our, I guess from our perspective, would be um, just be Ulasil, but I don't know. The naming of things seems significant to me, at least in some way. Um, Boulder Side Sword. There we go. Now to my friends only. Ha 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 ha. I think I'm going to do it again this time where I don't do the first bell until after I get to the demon area. Just because that was such a weird way to do it last time. And it sounds kind of like fun. But if I was doing this correctly, though, for the story, I don't think that's a good idea. The story can be whatever I want to, yes. But if it's more the typical player's path, then this would be the first one of the first major boss fights you go through. Thus, yeah. Oh, I suppose that makes sense. The reason I did it the other way around, doing Quelaag first, was just because that's just I knew how to go through all parts of the game, and I wanted to get certain items first. But if this character is moving through everywhere for the first time, that might not make sense. Um, watch your armor. Your armor's cool. You are massive. Now, that's another interesting feature that no. That seems to be true in this world is there are humans of various different sizes. Ooh, holy crap! The great sword just straight off. Okay, 28, just a little bit more. I like Zweihander better, but the great sword is pretty great. It's pretty awesome. But I'm Tish. Um, I don't think I've ever gotten that way before. It's pretty cool. Um, get the soul here, and then unlock the door. But there's something to be mentioned here where the no crap. Okay, I'm going down. Uh, there's something to be mentioned here about the sizes of the humans. The human that we are now seems to be the normal size human. I'm going to call this about 6 foot tall. Just for um, just for the reference, I guess. Um, in but that character, the one we just fought, the Knight of Berenique, I don't remember exactly what they're called. Uh, well, that guy is one of Black Iron Tarkus's men, I think. Anyway, uh, that guy could very easily have been like 9 or 10 feet tall, and that seems to be a size that's much more in line with the race of lords. And the different races in this game are interesting because what's her name? Oh gosh, the goddess of fertility. What's um Gwen Guinevere. Guinevere is massive, but her father Gwyn is only it's only like about the size of that other guy that we fought. He looks like he's about 10 feet tall. I mean 9 feet tall or something like that. Um, Now, like, what's the size difference there? That illusion of Guinevere was built to fool Gwyn, so it should be size accurate. Now, there could be an idea that potentially Lord Gwyn shrunk um, when he was burned up. I don't really think that makes very much sense, considering in the cinematic in the very beginning, the he is approximate. He's in comparison to his other knights, he's taller, um, but he's not quite Guinevere big, which makes me wonder because the other giants that we see in the world are not. I mean, they're humanoid, but they're not. They don't look like giant humans. They look, um, I don't know. They don't look very human. Um, there's an issue of the parentage there where I don't know. Maybe the size is something that's not fixed, or the her aspect of a god as a goddess of fertility produced her in that particular size as like a. You guys ever seen those idols that are found in like the Middle East and other different places of the fertility goddess, where she's like obese and the sexual organs features are or enormous, I guess. Every feature is magnified. Maybe it's something like that where the that's part of her godly aspect. I don't know. I mean, Priscilla was huge, but Priscilla's not that big. These are all questions that I'm gonna have to figure out some basic answer for when I start writing this. I don't know. I don't know. Hello, my friend. Lovely. Like to purchase an item, please. All of your Titanite shards. Um, and then gesture.
Reinforcement, and there's ascension. Reinforcement is simple. It strengthens the weapon and nothing more. A simple task for any blacksmith. Hell, you could even do it yourself with a smith box. But ascension's a finer art. It alters a weapon's properties. Ascension is the territory of we blacksmiths. A smith box just won't do the trick. Start out with reinforcement. When that loses its charm, you can consider ascension. As you've noticed, this land is flush with the mad and wicked. You won't make it through the night without employing my services.
So true. So true. Just improve the armor by a lot.
Don't get yourself. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Okay. I'd like to end this about where I ended the first one. It's about the entrance to the Valley of the Drakes. Um, but first, I'd like to go and talk to our onion friend over here, Siegmeyer. Sieg, buddy, how you doing? Sieg, how you doing? Not sleeping on me, are ya?
Hmm. 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 Oh, forgive me. I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina.
Siegmeyer.
I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait.
It's
And
made out of bronze.
I wait. So
I wonder
here
how much
I
that, I
sit,
could probably calculate how much that
skeptical,
weighs.
weighing my options, so to speak.
That's a pun. I like it.
Still closed. Still closed. Hmm. Still closed. Still closed. Hmm.
Okay. I should probably see if I can calculate how much that weighs sometime. Uh, it's got to be super heavy. Wonder what a normal percuss would weigh. I don't know, medieval one. It is a good question. Hmm. Then again, that's a good point. Somebody just texted me and said, if I'm going to go the normal common path, I should probably just go and fight the bell demon and get that over with first. But that means I have to go through the depths and then go through the oh gosh. Uh, oh, the other area. What is that called? Oh, I missed. Lovely. Um, Blighttown, and not take the shortcut. And I have not taken the shortcut in years because the shortcut is just so much better. I can't, I don't know. I haven't been into it on a computer yet, but just the lag of going through Blighttown is just going to be incredible. Oh, it's going to be awful. Here we go. Hope I don't die. This part's difficult. There we go. He usually does a lot more damage to me than that. The real damage comes from this one. But I wouldn't give her a tower shield at this point in the game. Ha ha! That went way better than it usually does. Way better than it usually does. Okay, I'm going to do something. I I don't know. I'm going to have to get I'm going to have to do it the normal way, which is going to make me angry because then uh Anastasia is going to die, but the free war trek. Um, and usually I'll immediately upon freeing him, I'll kill him because he's just the worst. But the character wouldn't necessarily know that, so I suppose it's just time to free him. Oh, I hate him so much. Oh, I hate him. He's just the worst. Yeah, I can help. Oh, do. I'm just gonna help this random stranger. Yay, yay.
Sincerely, I am Lord Trent. Oh,
You're
I
Yuri.
appreciate this.
You sound like Yuri.
Guarantee a reward. Only later.
Okay.
Yes, very sorry. I've just been freed.
Yeah, your reward is going to be stabbing Anastasia and having me come after you and murder you in the shadow world or in your world. Have to free him though, because that's the way the story is going to go. The next game, though, the next playthrough, you're dead. It's time for some jolly cooperation. I love that pose. Okay, here we go. Now let's kill this guy as fast as possible. And I'm backing up. What was that? So where? Oh, I missed. Oh, thanks. Jolly cooperation! Sunlight metal. Dude, that was so metal. Okay, stop. Wonder what purpose this place served before it was turned into what it is now. The church, but is it a way of white church? Or Church of Gwyn's religion? Did I do the thing? I slid down for a second. Oh, hi.
Greetings. I am Oswald of Terry. Oh, thou art a friend. He cometh out to confess.
I don't think I've had anything to request absolution for. I've not sinned. No, I will not abandon covenant yet. Okay. I think after this first boss is a good place to. Won't need a perching stone for a while. And I'll have. Okay. No. Okay.
Thou art welcome. And it is
This is about a good. This is a pretty good time to end it for now, since everything's actually working. You know, it only took me 3 tries. Since everything's actually working, it seems like this is a good time to stop and I can start again. Maybe sometime this week or sometime next week. I don't know yet. But I'll go down and save, sit down next to Andre, and so that I remember not to spend my points, my souls on leveling up. That's not where I need to be yet. Oh, I need to be upgrading my armors. Everything needs to be upgraded several times. Start upgrading with Zweihander. Okay. Okay. It has been a good time. S1D123 table. Try to beat the entire game without jumping. Ah, I've already failed. Dang it! I've already failed. Oh well. uh, I can definitely try something like that after this. I am not a speedrunner though. Usually it takes me a while to finish these games. Okay, well, I'm going to shut off the stream right now. This is Game Master Kellicana signing off on episode, I think I called it 2.5. Maybe I'll change it later. Anyway, see you later. Hopefully I'll have the screen video out pretty soon. Hopefully this Friday I'll get working on it as soon as I can. And hope that everyone has a wonderful day. 2 hours.